There are growing concerns about the worsening security situation in different parts of Nigeria.
Kidnappings, armed banditry, herdsmen attacks, and the Boko Haram insurgency, among others, have recorded an increase in the last few weeks.
From Kajuru in Kaduna State to communities in Zamfara and then Gombe, the story is the same. How can these internal security challenges be curbed? Joining me via Skype is a security expert, Group Captain Sadiq Shehu. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, we have made several attempts as a country in trying to tackle challenges of insecurity. What are we not doing right? Because it seems that the cases of insecurity seems to keep growing across the country.
Well, I would like to say that what we are not doing well is expecting too much from the security structure we have on the ground.
When you say expecting too much, how do you mean?
I mean by, our security structure was designed for years when we had only what we're afraid of was international attack from other countries. Over the years, from 10 years now, these issues of kidnapping, these issues of banditry are relatively new. But it made also the security structure, both in terms of strength, total strength, both in terms of training, both in terms of equipment, that was ill-prepared. So honest, I think both government and the general public must realize that the current security challenges, we do not have enough manpower, we do not have enough equipment, we do not have enough training to confront these challenges. Having said that, I would like to call on all governments at all structures, at the executive branch, at the legislative branch, at the local government and the state government branch, to realize this and to understand that if we shout security, we must put our money where our mouth is. But certainly we are not doing enough.
But several monies has been channeled into all of this, buying equipment and also perhaps trainings, because recently we had a report where the UK came to train some of our security personnel. So if you say they don't have the capacity, perhaps you might want to shed more light on that.
Yes, this is the problem. Security apparatus, whether military or police, is something that needs constant attention. What we are doing now is trying to train, trying to equip, while work is already at hand. If we look at our defense expenditure and even security expenditure from 2009 up to now 2019, I think we have never averaged even 1% of our GDP in addressing this defense and security issues. Even international development agencies like the IMF, like the World Bank, they recommend for countries that are not at war, that is at peacetime, to dedicate at least 1 to 3% of their GDP on security and defense issues. Unfortunately, studies have shown we have not been doing that. In fact, we have not averaged even 1% of our GDP. And this should be continuous. If you allow the problem to come, and that is the time you are going to train, that is the time you are going to acquire equipment, that is the time you are going to recruit, certainly you're going to have problems, and that's what we are having now.
So, are you saying that if the government is aware of all of this requirement, that it is not being sincere in its commitment to fight security?
Well, I would say that maybe the scale of the problem has not been understood by the policymakers. But I am very happy with what I heard last week. Last week, I clearly heard the spokesperson of the federal government, that is my name, Garba Shehu, saying that government has realized that there's a shortage of personnel. In all honesty, as somebody who follows these events, this is the first time that I'm hearing this. We seem to be ashamed or not realistic in admitting that first, we don't have enough resources. We don't have them on the ground. So hearing that from the spokesman of the presidency, honest, I'm happy. What I think before we have not, okay, it's good. You can just go and look at the defense budget and say, okay, defense budget is number 2 after health or after works. But the issue is we should look at correspondingly other countries that have similar challenges. What are they spending? What is the population? What is the percentage of the population that is engaged in the military, that is engaged in the police? How many are they? These are issues we should look. If you just look at the number of billions, not looking at the size of Nigeria, not looking at the population of Nigeria, not looking at the commitments of Nigeria. Nigeria still prides itself as a leader in Africa. So despite all these problems, we still want to send troops to Mali, we want to send troops to Equatorial Guinea and other UN operations. It is all from that money that you are seeing in budget. So in essence, what I am saying, And I am happy to hear this coming from a spokesman of the government. We don't have enough security personnel. We don't have enough equipment. We don't have enough training. And all that is a factor of money.
In looking at a holistic approach now, what would you proffer? Because some have said that perhaps we should look at state policing because of the way the structure we operate is now.
Well, we can look at maybe decentralizing the police, but more important, we should look at what we are doing. How are we planning? How are we planning our forces? This planning, this training, this equipping should be a year in, year out something. We should not wait for problems to come to say that the British are coming to train. In all honesty, what percentage of training can the British government do for us? It has to be a national issue. It has to be a national responsibility. I want to see both the executive and the legislature understanding that when the country is at risk, it's a joint effort. I also want to call on the general public to understand, because you see a lot of debate, a lot of money is being put in security. Is it only security? We tend to forget, we tend to say something but forget it. Without security, you don't have anything. Without security, you won't have investors coming, you won't have health facilities, you won't have education functioning. So when we have a challenge as we have in this country, we really have to raise the standards of our spending, the standard of our acquisition, and the standard of our training.
All right, Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, retired. Thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.